Are live. It's the Field of 68 After Dark Friday night edition. Happy weekend to all the college basketball fans out there. My name is Greg Waddell from Sleepers Media. With me here tonight, two of the smartest, most entertaining college basketball analysts out there. We've got Sean Paul from Making the Madness, and we've got Aaron Ace Robinson from All Facts Media, making his After Dark debut on the Field of 68. Gentlemen, it is good to see you, my friends. Sean, how are we doing tonight? You got the new background. Is that a fireplace you're sitting in front of?
It is a fireplace. It is a fireplace. Had to change it up a little bit for this After Dark episode. Decided to go in front of the fireplace tonight. I think it's a good decision.
Ace, it's your debut, man. It's got to feel good.
Feels great, man. I'm happy to be here, baby. You know what I'm saying? Black History Month is well and on us, man. You know what I'm saying? So happy to be on here talking some college hoops with my guys, man. Let's get them fired up, baby.
Let's get into the big game from last night. We're going to start over in the Pac-12 conference on the West Coast. UCLA, Arizona, really a juggernaut of a game. Two teams that have aspirations of a Final Four, aspirations of a potential national championship. UCLA got Arizona the first time. Last night was a bit of sweet revenge for the Wildcats, and it got a little testy down the stretch. We'll talk more about the aftermath of the game as some wild things have come to fruition. But first, let's talk on court. Arizona wins 76-66. Kerr Kriisa made some shots in this game. That was a pleasant surprise. Sean, let's go to you first. What's your takeaway from that game? Are the Wildcats a top 4 team in the country, and is this a statement win for them?
I think so. I mean, I will probably, depending on how the bracket shakes out, I'll probably pick Gonzaga to win it all, but Arizona's right there. And Greg knows, before the year, he asked me his question. He said, who's your dark horse Final Four team? I said Arizona. And the reason being is because they have so many pros on that roster. Benedict Mathurin, that's a lottery pick. Azuolas Tubelis will play in the pros eventually, still coming off that injury. He didn't play late in the game. Kerr Kriisa, he's developing a little bit. He's going to be up and down because he takes a lot of wild threes, but he's a solid point guard. He's a good showrunner. But Dalen Terry is really the X factor for that team, only averaging 6 points per game, but it's 6 points per game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and he's going to defend your best perimeter player at all times. Dalen Terry is a really good player. He's going to be another pro. This Arizona team, they play fast. They have a lot of size. They can shoot the basketball. I love everything that Tommy Lloyd's doing in year one. This is a team that can definitely cut down the nets in New Orleans here in 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it was definitely a big win for them. I think just from a mental standpoint, you never want to get swept, by a team in your conference. So for them to be able to bounce back and get a win was huge. Obviously, in that first one, Arizona shot horribly. Kerr Kriisa put up a donut, 0 for 12 from the floor, 0 for 9 from 3. And he didn't even shoot it great last night. He was 4 of 14 from the floor last night. But he obviously didn't turn the ball over. Only 2 turnovers, 5 assists. And obviously, they fed off his energy. I mean, Kerr Kriisa is a guy that plays with a lot of swagger, and he's out there rocking the headband and constantly pointing to the crowd. And obviously, they fed off of that energy in the McCann Center out there in Tucson, Arizona last night. And he's somebody that when he's feeling himself, he's playing well. Then Arizona played well, and obviously, the end of the game, I was cracking up watching it. He's in front of the UCLA bench, they throw the ball to the stands, and I mean, the guys is awesome, man. Super fun to watch, but. I still think the UCLA is probably the better basketball team going forward. They were able to shoot the ball really well in that first game at home. Last night, it kind of flipped. UCLA only shot in that game 38.9% from the floor, 3 of 14 from 3, only 21%. So if they meet on a neutral, it's basically going to be a game of who which team is making shots, which team's best players show up. And I think if I had to bet on one of those teams, I think I would bet on Juzang and UCLA to get the job done.
Yeah, so that was Cody Riley. He's a senior at UCLA. His first loss to Arizona in his career. Now 1-6 against Arizona. Yeah. Look, I think this game is more about Arizona than it is about UCLA. And I'll be honest, I've been skeptical of Arizona until last night. I think their only good win of the season prior to last night was the road win at Illinois. And I'll be honest, I have questions about how good Illinois is. And I know they're at the top of the Big Ten conference right now, or up there. Kofi Coburn's been amazing, but there's some squinting, how good of a win really is that to me? Arizona proved that they can make a Final Four run to me in this game, to dominate a UCLA team basically from start to finish. I know it got a little dicey in spots. over the second half. But for the most part, like that was a comfortable win for an Arizona team that I still don't feel played great. I mean, you said it. Kirk Kriisa was 4 for 14 last night. Ben Matherin was 11 points. Like
he didn't even play late in the game. Like he was on the bench after the under 4.
Right. Like this to me was a comfortable off night type win for an Arizona team, which to me, I think it's totally readjusted how I view their floor and their ceiling come March. Let's talk about Kirk Kriisa though, because he's a guy who can shoot you to a victory, obviously, but he's a guy who can shoot you straight to a loss. Come March, I mean, it's about putting 6 consecutive wins together to win a national title. Can a team with Kirk Kriisa as their key guy in the backcourt really win 6 straight in March? Sean, what do you think?
I think so. And here's the reason why. Look at his assist to turnover ratio, 5 assists to 2 turnovers. That's pretty good. And here's the thing. Like you said, he could shoot you out of a game and he can shoot you to win a game. But there's got to be some situations where he just doesn't shoot the ball. Like you have other options around you. You don't always have to take the shot. He can make them, but I think it serves Arizona better if he's playing more passive, being more of a facilitator, getting other guys involved like Matherin, like Tubelis, like Koloko. You have so many options around you that he doesn't have to be that guy. And I think if he starts showing that he's going to be more pass first, I think that can help the team around him get a little better. But if he struggles in the tournament, you have a guy that you can turn to in Dalen Terry where he can run the show. He's not a natural point guard, but he can provide a bit of a mismatch with his 6'7" frame, his good passing ability. He's a guy that knows how to win. He's a winning player. I think if something happens where Kriisa is 0 for 6.5, you can put Dalen Terry at that point guard spot, and I think you'd be just fine. So I think Arizona will be just fine with Kirk Kriisa or Dalen Terry running the point, and I don't think that'll hinder them from winning a title. But I think having a guy like Tiger Campbell for UCLA is something that definitely helps them. He started in the Final Four. He's a great passer, and he's been one of the best shooters in the Pac-12 this year. So for a team like UCLA, I think that lifts their ceiling.
Yeah, I'm not all in on Kirk Kriisa right now. I mean, the thing that makes you a great basketball team in March is point guard play. I mean, last year, obviously, Baylor and their point guard played with Davion Mitchell and Jared Butler. I mean, even back to the Villanova teams with Colin Gillespie and then with Jalen Brunson and with Archie Diacono. And you go back to Virginia with Kyle Guy and with Ty Jerome and the point guards that those guys have had. I just don't know if Kirk Kriisa, I mean, the kid's only a sophomore. He only played 8 games last year in that COVID team. So he doesn't really have a ton of experience in those big moments, in those big games. You look at a team like Gonzaga who has Andrew Nembhard who has played in big games. You look at a team like Villanova who has a Colin Gillespie who's played in those big games. And even, a team like Auburn who has Wendell Green who hasn't played in those big games. But I think for one game, I'd probably take him over a guy like Kirk Kriisa. Jaden Ivey on Purdue isn't necessarily a natural point guard, but he's somebody that in big games can go out there and can get you 20 to 25 points. So I think if you look at the guard play on other teams that they would potentially have to go through to get to a Final Four, to get to a national championship, I think I would just like their guard play over Kirk Kriisa in a one-game scenario. So Arizona definitely has potential to go far, but I think the thing that's going to hurt them is Kirk Kriisa's inconsistency. He's only a 33% shooter from the floor this year. So, we were talking about kind of the last few games where he struggled, but he hasn't really shot it well all season, and we're already here in early February. So I don't know if that's something that he's going to just wake up one day and turn around. So, we'll see what happens with him. But I think, me personally, I'm just not sold on Kirk Kriisa and his point guard and his ability as a point guard when we talk about the teams that are contending for a national championship.
Yeah, Kirk Kriisa plays like it's always Kirk Kriisa time, which is enjoyable to watch as a non-Arizona fan. I bet Arizona fans would tell you it's enjoyable to watch sometimes, and it's frustrating as hell some other times. The problem with Kirk to me is you got Ben Matherin, man. There's going to be a big game later this season where Ben Matherin is not nearly as involved as he should be. And Kirk Kriisa is way too involved on a night where he's not very hot. And that just terrifies me for Arizona's prospects in March. But man, I got to say, it's really fun to watch him. I mean, this guy has his first name on the back of his jersey. I respect the audaciousness from that alone. And last night after the win, guys, he was ready with the Twitter fingers, okay? He had the receipts after UCLA's first win. He quote tweeted a tweet from a UCLA account that said, "Our sentiments about Arizona very eloquently put by Tiger Campbell." And plug your ears, but you can see Tiger Campbell in slow motion basically saying, "F Arizona." Well, Kirk Kriisa was right on it with the quote tweet and said, "It's mutual." So look, he's kind of becoming the fun villain of college basketball to me right now.
There's always one.
There's always one, and there needs.
I do love that about him. I will say I love players that play like that because obviously, like now you got all these good boys out here don't want to talk any trash, don't want to like go on Twitter and talk anything. Like I don't know. I love players and coaches too because some coaches be in the press conferences don't want to say anything, gonna piss the other team off. Man, I love coaches that get in the press conference and talk like like we here like. And players that will get in the press conference and say, not arrogantly, but like, like we just spanked them. I like me personally, I want to see more of that. So I do love that about Kirk Creasy. I think going forward in his career, that's something that's gonna bode really well for him going down the line.
Yeah, I'd really like to see Arizona UCLA Part 3 in the Pac-12 tournament at this point.
I think it's likely for sure.
Yeah, they got to be the favorites. Hopefully it's for a Pac-12 title. We shall see. But with every good moment in a rivalry, there comes some bad moments. And this was a pretty ugly moment. We've got UCLA's forward off the bench. Well, actually, he's not playing this year with an injury. But Mack Etienne spat at some Arizona fans on the way to the tunnel. Not a good look. Ace, you played. Obviously, I'm assuming you've been in some pretty crazy situations as a fan or as a player on the road from fans. I can't imagine you've ever spat on anyone, but like, try to talk us through, like, what is Mac possibly thinking in that moment?
I mean, listen, when you're playing a high intensity game like that, like you mentioned, Kirk Creasy and Tyler Campbell, both of those guys talking trash, going back and forth, F Arizona, F UCLA. And I won't lie, them fans say out-of-pocket stuff to you when you're on the road. Like, they don't care. Like, the thing that bothers me about fans, you see this a lot of times in the NBA, it was like, you go on Twitter and they'll be in the stands. And even like Melo the other night, that fan at, I think it was in Philly, the fan was saying something crazy to Melo, and he walked up over to him like, yo, like, we're not doing that. And then it's like, oh, it gets real. So I will say, fans do say some wild stuff. So I'm assuming somebody said something crazy to him when he came off the court. And his first reaction was probably like, yo, like, what? And I guess first thing out of his mouth was to spit on him, but which is inexcusable. Players should never be spitting, touching, putting their hands on fans in any capacity. Because at the end of the day, you know, you're representing your school, you're representing your coach, you're representing your family. Like, at the end of the day, like, his mom is going to see that and somebody's going to be like, yo, why is your son out here spitting on people? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, who taught him that? So you never want to be putting your family and the university in that position. But I will say, like, there are some fans out here that say some wild stuff, and I've wanted to say some things back to them, but luckily, you know, I was taught at Quinnipiac and at Coppin State, you know, to kind of let that go in one ear and out the others. But some people don't receive those messages very well, and it seems like buddies from UCLA did not receive that message very well. So I'm interested to see how they're going to handle that. I would assume a suspension is coming. Well, he's not playing already, so I don't really know, you know, what's going to happen with that. He's already not playing, so, you know, obviously they said he has some legal stuff going on, so that could be out of UCLA's hands altogether.
Yeah, I mean, fans can obviously cross the line. We've heard countless stories, and I look, it's got to be hard to be a player on the road in crazy environments, but part of the job is to make sure you don't make a mistake like Etienne did. So yeah, it'll be interesting to watch where this story goes. But again, man, this rivalry, if it wasn't already a top tier college basketball rivalry after last night, it officially is. Let's hope we get another round of UCLA Arizona. Let's move to some mid-major talk, boys. You guys do a great job with the mid-major show every single week on the Field of 68. So it's only right that we talk about some of these teams that could potentially crash the party come March and become household names. Sean, you were famous last year. I think famous is the right word for basically telling people Oral Roberts would beat Ohio State even before the matchups came out. Kudos to you for that one.
Thank you.
Let's start with some games from tonight, though. So Richmond, St. Bonaventure, two teams that in the preseason were highly touted as some of the best mid-majors in the country. I believe they were first and second in the A10 poll preseason. They sit today, fellas, at 5th and 6th in the Atlantic 10 Conference. Richmond with a 10-point win against St. Bonaventure. Are the Bonnies dead? I mean, can St. Bonaventure come back from this realistically? Sean, let's go to you.
No, I think this was a nail in the coffin today. And here's part of the reason why. When I thought about St. Bonaventure coming into the year, I'm like, all right, they have all their 5 starters back. That's good. And the thing about last year is they only played like 17, 18 games because of COVID. So they played their starters for like 36 plus minutes a game. That's not sustainable over a full length season. And that's what we're seeing this year. They played their bench 17 total minutes a day. They combined for 7 points. When you're just not playing your bench, you're playing your starters virtually the entire game. They're going to wear down. They're going to get tired. And let's say a guy's off, he's having an off night. You can't just put someone in because they've barely played throughout the season. So it's hard for St. Bonaventure to really play without a bench. I think depth is one of the more important things in college basketball, and that's not a thing for St. Bonaventure. They haven't defended very well this season, and I think that's probably it for them because the net isn't good. Their KenPom isn't good. The metrics do not like St. Bonaventure at all. They have that impressive win over Marquette, but I think this is probably it for the Bonnies. But you look at a team like Richmond, I think they're a team that could win the A-10 tournament. They probably don't have an at-large chance at this point, but with Tyler Burton doing what he did today, that's 36 points and 7 rebounds. He's a pro. He's going to be an NBA draft selection, whether it's this year, next year, maybe a first-round pick. He's your prototypical NBA wing that can really shoot the basketball. Then you have veterans around him like Jacob Gilliard, who hasn't shot the ball well this year, but he leads the NCAA in all-time steals. And then the Princeton offense, Grant Golden, is a really good conductor of that offense. So I do like Richmond. I think they could be a pretty solid team, but neither are at-large teams.
Fun fact about Tyler Burton, he actually visited Quinnipiac my senior year. We had him on campus, and obviously, as you can see, he made the right choice going to Richmond because he's having an absolutely outstanding career there. But
wait. So you didn't put the pitch on? You're not a closer on the recruiting trail?
Listen. It wasn't an official visit. It was the unofficial visit. I remember I walked out of the locker room. I'm like, who is this tall, light-skinned dude here in the dim dunking? Fun fact, we also had Jacob Toppin. Oh, matter of fact, I'm tripping. No, we had Jacob Toppin, and he was doing it on unofficial. Matter of fact, we did have Tyler Burton on an official visit, and I didn't host him. Listen, my record was hosted.
Oh, okay.
Listen.
Okay.
My record, listen. If anybody wants to call up Tom Moore, associate head coach at UConn, me and Andrew Robertson, we hosted every single recruit that came through Quinnipiac our freshman and sophomore year. Our sophomore season, we had 6 new players. Me and Drew hosted every single one of them. Half of our team that was that year, Peter Kiss, Mikey Dixon, Cameron Young, Reggie Gardner, Phil Winston, and Jaquan Jones. Then we called him Flinky. We hosted every single one of them dudes on business when they came on campus. So yeah, my record as the closer is elite.
Okay, I struck a nerve there. That's my bad.
He didn't make it work with Tyler Burton, though. He could have pitched that he should be the one controlling the recruiting visit, right? There's something that was missed there, and I think that's part of the problem here.
Listen, man, there's some stories that I could tell that we won't tell on camera. You know what I'm saying?
We could be seeing Tyler Burton in the MAC right now. What would that be like?
Yeah, if Quinnipiac got Tyler Burton right now, I think we'd be having a whole different conversation right now. But listen, nonetheless, you mentioned it, Sean. I think with the St. Bonaventure team, you can't play your bench 17 minutes in a basketball game and think that you're going to have a chance to sustain success. I remember I had an opportunity to see them when they played at George Mason last week. And after the game, we asked Coach Schmidt in the presser, you guys have been kind of playing your starters a lot of minutes. He said, this is what we do. It's what we've always done. We're going to make sure we get our guys some good treatment. And basically, this is what we're going to do. These are our best 5 players. We're going to roll with them till the wheels fall off. And the wheels are falling off right now. It's February, and those guys are not playing good basketball, man. It's crazy because they're extremely talented. Kyle Lofton is one of the best guards, not only in the A-10, but in the country. I'm pretty sure he was in the Bob Cousy Award watch list preseason coming into this season, man. And, obviously Asun has dealt with some injuries. He's had a bad back kind of since that Charleston class. He's playing through some injuries, and it's crazy, man, because they're a senior-laden team. They have the experience. They're a team that I think once we get to the A-10 tournament in D.C., that nobody's going to want to play. You do not want to see that team in DC in the A-10 tournament because of their experience and the guys that they have on that roster. But, they're going to potentially have a 5-6 seed, and they're going to have to go through some pretty good teams on their road to March if they're going to get a bid. So we'll see. I mean, I don't want to sell my stock on St. Bonaventure just yet, just because of the fact that they are extremely well coached. Mark Schmidt, as my guy John Rothstein says, love to do more with less. And he has done so, over the past few years. So I'm not going to completely sell my stock on them, but they're definitely a team that hasn't played their best basketball right now.
Yeah, I think you got to sell the Bonnies for the remainder of the regular season. At this point,
sure.
They're 3 games back from the top of the A-10. The A-10, which is an extremely fun, extremely competitive conference right now, right? There's a bunch of good teams in this.
One bid league, though, if Davidson wins the league tournament, that's the worst case scenario.
But there are some teams that are starting to play better now. Like VCU is starting to turn the corner. Obviously, they had Ace Baldwin was hurt in the beginning of the year. He's back now. They're 6-3 in the A-10 play. St. Louis is looking better. I had an opportunity to see them the other night against George Mason, and Yuri Collins went absolutely bananas at 35, 13, 5 rebounds, and 5 steals in a double overtime win. And he's, like I said, one of the best guards in the country as well. Not only just the A-10. So their guard play is really good, and they're also obviously really well coached. With Travis Ford, but it seems like St. Louis, they're 56 currently in the country, offensive efficiency, and 63rd right now in defensive efficiency. So they guard well, and they're scoring the ball well, and they have a player in Yuri Collins that is extremely dynamic. So I wouldn't count out St. Louis to kind of get up into the upper echelon of the Atlantic 10. I believe they won their last 5 games right now. So you want to be playing your best basketball as we get into February and March, and they're a team that's doing so. So don't count out St. Louis in the A-10.
Well, yeah, I like Dayton, but those 3 quadrant 4 losses, I don't think they can overcome those. I mean, those are terrible losses.
They're not getting an at-large bid, and neither I think is St. Louis. I think St. Louis has a better shot at it than Dayton, but they would have to pretty much run through the rest of the league in order to kind of get in the at-large territory because they're already 15-6 right now. So and Dayton, yeah, they're completely off of the at-large bubble, just based off of those 3 quad 4 losses that they had in November. So. The A-10 is probably still a 1-bid league at this point in time. So, I don't want to, get too excited here, but there are some teams that I think could potentially, muck up the mix here with a St. Louis, with a VCU, and even George Mason, man, with what Kim English is doing down there in year 1. Obviously, they had that huge win earlier in the season against Maryland, which now isn't looking as good as it did back then. But they have one of the best players in the A-10 as well, in Joshua Durrell. I mean, that dude has potential to be an NBA player one day, man, and, can shoot the 3, can finish in the paint, man. And obviously the impact that Deshaun Schwartz has made this year coming in from Colorado has been huge. Davon Cooper, who played in the NCAA tournament last year at Morehead State, both of those guys have been awesome. Ticket Gaines has made huge strides last year from Tennessee. Coming in there this year is one of the best shooters in the entire country this season. I believe he was shooting about 45% from 3, as of last game. So Mason is going to be a tough out, man. They have guys that have been there. They have guys that have won, and they play extremely hard. So I don't want to count out George Mason as in the A-10 yet either.
I think it could be a 2-bid league. I'm coming off the Fielding the 68 bracketology show, and they had VCU in their last 4 in at the moment. So we got to really
like VCU.
That's true. I just figured after losing by like 40 to Dayton that they probably dropped out. But I do like VCU. I mean, with Ace Baldwin back, they're a different team. But they also were a team that had some questionable losses in the non-conference.
Yeah, we got to see where it goes. But
yeah,
a wide variety of outcomes, to say the least, depending on how the conference tournament goes and how the remainder of the regular season goes. There's another game that is very important to the mid-major picture that is going on right now as we speak. Colorado State hosting San Diego State. Colorado State coming off back-to-back losses. Kind of a must-win spot for these guys. At home against the second best defense in the country. I went over to our partners at Bet Rivers before this game, and I sprinkled a little bit of money on the under 133.5 points.
Smart choice.
Fellas,
yeah.
I am sitting pretty. This was a 5-5 basketball game with less than 10 minutes left in the first half. Colorado State has started to pull away a little bit here. David Roddy is getting going. They're up 35-22 early in the second half here. Do you believe that Colorado State is a team that not only can make the tournament, but can make some noise in the tournament? Sean, what do you think?
Absolutely. I've been in on this Colorado State team since the offseason. You look at Isaiah Stevens, you look at the strides David Roddy's made, and if you think about it, he wasn't a good three-point shooter last year. He's transformed into one of the best shooters in the conference. Chandler Jacobs is a really solid glue guy, and then they have some solid depth around him. The issue is defense, but that offense, they're top 20 in Ken Palm's offensive efficiency. They shoot the ball well from outside. They've just had a couple tough losses, like the loss against San Diego State a couple months ago. It was right out of a COVID pause. Like that was like their second game back from a COVID pause. You don't want to play at San Diego State with their tough defense on the road right after a COVID pause. I chalked that one up to the COVID before that game. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But today they're handling San Diego State pretty well. San Diego State really struggles offensively. We're seeing that today. But when you have an offense with two guys like Isaiah Stevens and David Roddy, you can make a run in the tournament.
No, without a doubt, man. I think we talked a lot about point guard play earlier, man. Isaiah Stevens doesn't get enough credit for the job that he does as a point guard for Colorado State, man. I think when you talk about the best guards in the country, his name has to be in there, man, because this dude, I mean, he averages 5 assists per game, just 1.5 turnovers per game. And anytime you have a point guard that's flirting with 5-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, you're in a pretty good spot, man. And that guy he has such great pace to his game. He never gets fed up. And he seems like he always kind of knows, when to get the ball, David Roddy, when to be aggressive and score. And I think he's somebody that does a great job just kind of running that offense for Colorado State, man. And as we get towards March, man, I mentioned earlier, man, it is imperative that you have a point guard that can lead your basketball team. And Isaiah Stevens is somebody who I think can carry this Colorado State team deep in March. Sean mentioned the offense, man. They're 17th right now in the country in offensive efficiency, man. So they're going to be able to score with anybody. David Roddy gives them great versatility as a four-man. He can pick and pop. Also can post up, can handle it. There's not really too many limitations to his game. When you have guys like that, when you go on the road or when you go in the tournament, you're playing, bigger schools and you can switch four guys. If you put Roddy at the 5, you can switch all 5. That gives you the opportunity to be really good and really disruptive defensively. So, I think that they're a team that if they get a decent seed and they're not, having to play any 1-2 seeds, too early on, they're a team that could potentially make a second weekend in the tournament this year.
Tonight was really big for them too. I mean, they sit 2 games back in the Mountain West standings from Boise State and Wyoming. The loss to Wyoming this week was, a critical loss if they're trying to win this conference. But even beyond that, like San Diego State is a team that can muck things up. Their defense is legit. And this was a rock fight for 20 minutes. It was a rock fight. The game was there for the taking for both sides. And Colorado State ultimately is too talented offensively to not start hitting a rhythm. And San Diego State has nowhere to turn. I've been watching this on the side as we record this. But it'll be interesting because it's a team that I think needs to do their work to get a decent seed in order for me to buy them in March. Yeah. Like if this team ends up on the 12 or 11 type spot, I'm not going to feel nearly as good about their chances as I would.
On the 12?
I think
I would love them on the 12 line. I would love them on the 12 because you get a 5 seed and then you potentially get a 4 seed. That would be perfect if you're Colorado State to advance to a second weekend. I don't want to see them on like the 9 line or something like that. Like I don't think they'll get that high because obviously the losses that they've had recently hurt. But I think if you put them on that 12 line, you get that 12-5 game. There's a few of those every year. So if I see them on the 12 line, I'm putting the house on them. I'll tell you that right now. You that right now.
I'm not a bracketology. I don't do bracketology myself. So tune into the bracketology show on the Field of 68 to see more on that. But I would say I would like them against, like, if we're talking potential 1 seeds, I would like them against a Kansas. Like if Kansas is a 1 seed, I would probably take Colorado State over Kansas.
I'll take a lot of teams over Kansas, I think.
Greg Waddell out on Kansas.
They would have the best point guard in that game. Like we talk about golf, but they would have the best guard on the floor in that basketball. Obviously, we have Ochai Agbaji, who would be the best player on the floor, but point guard play is critical, man. And Isaiah Stevens would definitely have the advantage at point guard in that matchup.
Yeah, and that's my problem with Kansas is they don't have a point guard and they don't have a center right now. That's
pretty big issues. I agree with you. I'm not in on Kansas right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you to our mid-major experts, Sean Paul and Ace Robinson. Let's go around the horn. Very quick, rapid fire style answer for me. You have to pick one mid-major to bet your house on. You're going homeless if this mid-major doesn't make a Sweet 16 in the NCAA tournament. There's always going to be one. Who's the one this year? You can only back one. Ace, let's go to you first.
I'm going Murray State, baby. I'm rolling with the Racers for Murray State. They need to be ranked in the AP poll. I just want to get on the record and say that. It is time to rank the Racers, and they need to be ranked next week. And if they're not, now I'm going to have to call up whoever votes in the AP poll. We're going to have to have a discussion about Murray State. They've now won 10 straight games. They're 20-2 overall on the season. Their only 2 losses this year came versus number 1 team in the country, and that was Auburn. And then lost to ETSU in the 4th game of the year back in November on neutral court. The game that they just didn't shoot the ball well. That's never going to happen again. I mean, I believe if I'm not thinking, they shot like 1 for 16 from 3 or something like that in that basketball game. So hasn't happened since. Won't happen again the rest of the year. And they have two guys in Tevin Brown and KJ Williams who are as dynamic as any players in the country, man. We talk about guys that show up in big spots. I mean, in their biggest games of the season for Murray State, Tevin Brown has been absolutely huge. I've seen that win over Memphis. He had 22, 7, and 4 versus Auburn, 22, 9, and 2 versus Belmont, 18, 6, and 3 versus Chattanooga, 33, 9, and 2. I mean, every time the big fellas come to town, he shows up big, man. He's a guy that can make shots off the bounce, can catch and shoot, can score from three levels. And then KJ Williams, this guy's starting to play his best basketball of the season right now. He scored over 20 in 4 straight games. He also had 10-plus rebounds in 3 of those games. I'm all in on Murray State, man. They're currently 27th in the net, 37th in Ken Palm. So, I think that their team, man, that they have 2 of the better players in the country, man. And we talk about winning in March. We've seen Max Etienne and Kevin O'Bannon last year take the world by storm for Oral Roberts, man. So if you have a guy in the post and a guard in the backcourt that can put up big numbers, man, Murray State checks all those boxes, man. And their team that's going to be a dangerous out come March. So put my house on the Racers and hashtag rank the Racers, baby.
Rank the Racers, Sean. Who's the fireplace on? You got to bet the fireplace and the house.
Hey, I agree with Ace. I think Murray State is there, but another team, I'll take a different team. They're probably one of my picks. These 2 are really close. I might have went with San Francisco anyways. That's who I'm going to go with here because Todd Golden's one of the best young offensive minds in college basketball. He's a great coach. And here's the difference with San Francisco between this year and last year. They lost Jimbo Lowell last year, their 7-foot rim protector. He graduated. They didn't have a true post presence last year. They were just shooting the ball a ton, which they still do, but they didn't have that rim protection. They didn't have that rebounding. So they add Yawan Masalski from San Diego, an interconference transfer. He's averaging 14 points, 9 rebounds, 2.5 blocks per game. He's been probably their second best player and one of the more valuable players in the WCC this year because of everything he's able to bring. He's able to put some pressure off of Jamari Bouye and the other guards. And then you have a guy like Patrick Tapey, who barely shoots the ball on offense, but he is a great defender inside. He brings a really good presence to that team. And they went through a stretch earlier in the year where they lost to Grand Canyon and then they lost to Loyola Chicago. They didn't shoot the ball well in those games. They've gotten it going recently, though. They scored 88 against Santa Clara. They scored 73 yesterday against BYU. Jamari Bouye is a reliable player. He's going to shoot the ball. But then you have guys like Julian Rishwain and Zane Meeks, Gabe Stefanini, Khalil Shabazz. All those guys can shoot the basketball. And although they've had moments where they've struggled, I still trust them to knock down threes when it matters. So you have shooting, you have defense, which is top 30 in Ken Palm. They shoot threes on 45% of their possessions. I am very much in on the San Francisco Dons. They should get back to the NCAA tournament. If they end up winning a couple games, I would not be surprised. And hopefully they do, because I really don't want to lose my house. That would be tough.
The Dons is an elite nickname, by the way. Like, good mascot.
Don't worry, Sean. If you lose your house, you can call Eli. Hopefully, he still has the little tiny house on layaway.
That's true. I like both those picks. I'll go with Davidson for mine, by the way. Shooting travels. They got 4 very, very, very high-level shooters. Hung Jung Lee, Foster Lawyer. I would be terrified if my team had to play Davidson in the first or second round. That's not a team I want to see in March. So,
and the thing about Davidson as well is that in the tournament, obviously, unless you catch Davidson on that first night, like, so if you after Thursday, Saturday, go home Thursday, Saturday, if you catch Davidson on that Saturday, that second night, you only have 48 hours to prepare for them. And I don't think people understand how hard it is to scheme for that offense that they run in 2 days. We saw Alabama tried that earlier in the year. They lost the game against Colorado State, flew Davidson out on 48-hour notice, and they lost. Like, we played Davidson my last year at Coppin State up there when they had Kellen Grady, Hyung Jung Lee, and all those dudes. The ball moves so fast. Like, first of all, obviously, when you're playing defense, you want to try to keep the ball on one side. But the thing that makes them so hard to guard is that they put their 5s in the middle of the court. So you can't really load to one side. And they have shooters at all 5 spots in the perimeter. So they're whipping passes. By the time you even get to the paint to try to load up, the ball's already moving to somebody else. And then they have, like I said, they have shooters all over the court. So extremely hard to prepare for, especially on that such short prep. So, and then Bob McKillop just does a great job kind of exploiting matchups. If he sees something that's working, he's going to keep going to it, man. And so they're going to be a tough out come NCAA tournament time, man, because they run their offense with great pace. They have shooting all over the court, and they're extremely well coached, and they have great guard play. So I'm definitely with you on that Davidson pick as well.
I think it was Archie Miller on this very show who said, you don't want to do a 48-hour prep for Bob McKillop.
You can prepare for a week, and you still can't guard that stuff, at a high level.
Yeah. He's one of the best coaches in college basketball. Like, just X's and O's wise, like, he's great. Like, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah. All right. That was fun. Thank you, boys. This is the Field of 68 After Dark. You can hear the Field of 68 After Dark every night, not tonight, but every other night on Sirius XM channel 84 ESPNU. You can also stream this on Twitter and on the Field of 68 YouTube channel. Please like, subscribe to that channel. Every single like and subscription helps. Make sure you get your questions in over at the YouTube channel. We will save some time at the end to answer any questions that we're getting from the fans of the show. All right, I have a game in honor of Ace Robinson's debut tonight. A member of All Facts Media. We're going to play a game called All Facts, Some Facts, or No Facts. I'm going to hit you guys with some, you could call them hot takes. It is what it is. Maybe I
like a good hot take. I do like a good hot take.
I might be on my Skip Bayless. Who's to say? I'm going to throw 6 hot takes at you. And fellas, I'm going to have to call you out. I have to go coach mode here. I asked for some rapid fire answers last time, and we were moving at the pace of a Wisconsin half court offense. So we're going to keep this moving a little bit. Give me, if this is all facts, some facts, or no facts, and then give me like 20 to 30 seconds on your reasoning why. Are we ready, boys?
Ready to go.
Statement number 1. Illinois is better without Andre Curbelo. Ace, let's go to you first.
I'm going to say that's not factual. And I know the way that they've looked, obviously, without him compared to the way they looked with him. But the fact of the matter is that when you have a guy like Curbelo who can score, who can pass, and who is as good in ball screens as he is, I know he can get a little turnover happy at times. He's a guy that can kind of get in the paint and leave his feet and throw some wild passes. But the combination of him with Kofi, with the shooters that they have around him, obviously their whole offense was built around those guys. So if he can get healthy and get to full strength, I think that the Illini could potentially win it all this season. So I'm going to say that that's not factual.
I'm going to go with some facts because he's not a shooter. He's 3 for 16 from 3 this year. He's 8 for 47 for his career. He turns the ball over a ton. When he's going, he can be really good, but there's those moments where he's really not going. So Trent Frazier is almost a more reliable option at times, even though he's not a true point guard.
Yeah, Trent Frazier's a much more reliable option. Alfonso Plummer is a much more reliable option.
So you go all facts? I'm going
I like
all
those guys off the ball, though. Like, imagine Curbelo in ball screens with Kofi rolling the basket and then those guys spotting up. Like, that's you can't. It's impossible to guard.
So it makes sense on paper, and it looked like that was my pick. Illinois was my preseason pick for Big Ten winner this season. But they're 3-4 with Andre Curbelo this season. They're 13-1 without him.
And you can leave him open from 3. Like, you can really dare him to shoot the basketball.
But this is the thing, though. You can't, like, all right, when guys are in and out of the lineup, it's so hard to find any type of continuity on offense. So, yes, he only played in what? Which was it? The 3-4. He only played in 7 games all year. Like,
that's a third of their games, and all of their losses come in that third of the games.
But listen, bro. Before the season, Underwood had this idea. He's gonna, all right, we're gonna have Kofi and Andre playing in 2-man games. We're gonna space the floor with Frazier and all those guys. It's gonna be great. Now you don't have Kofi for the first few games. He served him suspension. Then Curbelo gets a concussion. You can't have any type of continuity in your offense. And now it's February, so once you get to February, you're not practicing. Like, you're not going 3 hours in practice. You're not coming to practice and you're not throwing a whole lot at your team. So the majority of their practices now are probably going to be like, all right, let's keep it simple. Let's simplify the offense. So they're probably going to get back to what they wanted to do preseason, which is just putting Curbelo on the ball screen, letting those shooters space around him. And you're either going to have to deal with Kofi at the rim or you're going to have to live with Curbelo making a decision. So I don't know. I think that if they can get healthy and find some continuity, that's going to be the biggest if with them. If they can't get healthy, I think Illinois can be dangerous going down the stretch. I really do.
So my answer would have been some facts because it's not 100% true.
We're on the same page. We're good.
The best case version of this Illinois team is a version that includes Andre Curbelo in some capacity. But my problem is I kind of think it just makes more sense to surround Kofi with 4 shooters than it does to surround him with 3 shooters and a guy who needs the ball in his hands, who's extremely turnover.
No, because you have to listen. You have to deal with Kofi. If you're going to simplify your offense, right, and you're going to just put Curbelo and Kofi in ball screens, they're going to have to either tag Kofi on the roll or they're going to live with Frazier and those guys drilling 3s. So, like, I'm telling you, bro, if they can get them dudes all healthy at the same time, it's going to be impossible to guard them. Like, I don't know. Conceptually,
I agree. But I think it's equally as hard to guard them when it's just 4 shooters surrounding this massive big. Like that's worked in the games without Curbelo. So we'll see. All right. This is a great game. We're 1 for 1 on fun segments here. All right, let's move to number 2. Texas Tech will make a Final Four before Chris Beard does at Texas. All facts, some facts, no facts. Sean, you're going first.
No facts I'm going to go with. I don't think they're making the Final Four this year. I think they're really good.
Not this year. Not this year.
No, I don't think they're
Final
Chris
Four Beard.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I hear you, but like I think this year could be one of their better chances with the team they have this year. So I don't think they'll get in this year, even though they're really good. And Chris Beard is still one of the best coaches in college basketball. He has a great staff around him to recruit guys. This year it hasn't really worked out, but they're without question one of the more talented teams in college basketball. Just hasn't came to fruition yet. Chris Beard is going to get it going at Texas. I am very certain of that. It might take a little bit of time. It hasn't gone as planned year 1, but it'll happen. Chris Beard will get to a Final Four before Texas Tech does.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that this would be their best chance at the Final Four be this season. And I don't think like Mark Adams is doing an outstanding job this season with his basketball team. I think they can advance in the tournament, but I don't have them going to the Final Four. And I think that as time goes on, Beard is going to get his guys in there. Like he obviously, no disrespect to Courtney Ramey and to those guys are great players, but he didn't recruit those guys. So obviously when guys come in and you're not recruiting your own guys and taking the job over, it's tough meshing the culture. You're still dealing with the culture issues and whatever stuff went on. I don't want to say there was any culture issues because Shaka probably, ran that program at extremely high level, but it's different though. You know what I'm saying? So I think when Beard can kind of get his guys in there, set his standards for a program, I think that he'll get it rolling at Texas and they'll be able to turn it around.
I'm going some facts for this one. And the only reason why is because I am a man who is fueled entirely by spite at all times. And there's got to be so much spite within the Texas Tech program right now. Like it was palpable. You could see it. I could see it through my television screen for the game this week in Lubbock. So
Texas Tech fans don't like me, by the way. This probably isn't helping in my case.
Texas Tech fans don't like anybody. They don't like us either.
They are not happy with me. Like they were very angry over the offseason.
Well, maybe they like me for that take. I think there's a decent chance Texas Tech could make a Final Four before Chris Beard's Texas teams do. I'm curious to see. I want to see where Beard goes next year. He's got all the transfers this year. Like what does next year look like from a roster building standpoint? I don't think either of them.
He's going to get his guys in there for sure. He's going to get his guys in there.
Yeah, but Sean also got his guys in there. Like it just feels like Texas as a program is in a weird spot.
Without question, though, Texas is top to bottom the better program. Maybe not that clear, but Texas is a better program than Texas Tech. But will Texas Tech be able to win more? I think that's possible too, because Mark Adams is a great coach. But I think Texas will be recruiting at a higher level.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, number 3, a Jeff Goodman specialty here. Providence is more lucky than they are good. Ace, go first.
I'm going to say not facts, because Dawson got on to come and say not factual. I'm going to say it's not facts, and this is because I think Ed Cooley is one of the most underrated coaches in the country. I pray and hope that he gets the Maryland job. Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens with that situation, but this Providence team is no joke, man. I mean, they gel extremely well. They defend and they just play their balls off for Ed Cooley. Like I think when you talk about guys like we talked about Shaka Smart and Marquette, like the teams embody the identity of their coaches, man. And this Providence team embodies the identity of Ed Cooley. Just junkyard dog. They've always played hard. Obviously, they're getting great production from guys like Al Durham. AJ Reeves is finally back healthy and playing well for those guys, man. So I'm going to say that's not facts, and that Providence is actually a good basketball team.
I'm going to go with some facts. I think they're lucky, and I think they're good. I think it's a little bit of both. But the predictive metrics like KenPom have them 49th. They're the luckiest team on KenPom by a very wide margin. They played a ton of close games, so that's the reason for that. Nate Watson, I think, needs to be getting the ball a lot more than he does, though, because he should be averaging like 16 a game. Like, this is a guy I thought if Providence was going to compete in the conference, I thought he was going to run away with Conference Player of the Year. Al Durham really has not shot the ball well this year, but he's made big plays when it matters. So that's good, but he's shooting 24% from 3. Noah Horkler has been their biggest X factor this year because he's a great rebounder, solid defender. He can really shoot the ball. I think this is a good team, and Justin Manayas also has been a great defender, one of the best in the country. I think this is a good team. They play really hard, but I do question where their offense comes from at times, and I think that could be their ultimate downfall. I don't think they're a good enough team to be like a 3-seed or 4-seed I trust, but are they like a 5 or a 6-seed I could buy into a little bit? That I can.
I hope this team stays under the radar, to be honest. Like I think Providence is lucky, but this is not facts because they're not more lucky than they are good. This is a very good basketball team. They're 9-1 atop the Big East, a Big East that has 5 ranked teams, mind you. They're 19-2 on the season and 13-0 at home. You don't get to that mark, no matter who you play, without being good. Kevin Sweeney said it on the show, I believe last week. This is a bunch of dudes who have never been in a spot to win before that have found their way to a team that all of a sudden has just taken on this tough-nosed mentality, and it's shining through in big moments. I think they're a very good team. I love watching them, so I'm going with not facts for that one. Let's move to one, Sean. I think you're going to like this one. All facts, some facts, or no facts. The West Coast Conference will get more NCAA tournament bids than the ACC.
I'm going to say no facts. I don't think that happens. Because BYU is fading. Like, they're still in right now. That quadrant 4 loss to Pacific is terrible. Pacific is not a good team. That was an awful loss that they really had to avoid. They find themselves losing 3 straight games after losing pretty convincingly to San Francisco yesterday. Oh, guess what? You play Gonzaga tomorrow. I don't have any confidence that they're going to even compete in that game. Like, the offense outside of Alex Barcelo has been non-existent recently. Caleb Lohner has really struggled this entire year. He airballed several threes last week. I'm going to say that the WCC gets 3 teams in. I think the ACC finds a way to get 4 in.
Wow. Ace?
If the ACC gets 4 teams in, yo, I promise you, I'm fighting somebody. There's
Wake Forest,
nah.
Wake Forest, Miami, Duke, and North Carolina. I don't think Carolina should be in.
I hate all this Carolina talk. They haven't beat anybody.
I agree.
They're not beating Duke on Saturday. Let's get that. They are not beating Duke on Saturday. People look at they're not beating Duke. They're gonna get swept by Duke. They're gonna finish this season with no quad 1 wins. How are you putting them in the tournament? Like, there's no way.
I agree with you. There's
no way that the ACC is getting 4 teams in the tournament. I love Miami. I love Miami. Duke is obviously getting in. My guy Steve Forbes, I love Wake Forest too. If Notre Dame is in the tournament, I'm had to fight somebody. North Carolina is not getting. I love my guy Robbie Davis. If they get in the NCAA tournament, listen, somebody has to come talk to me. Like, they're not a tournament team in my opinion. And once they lose to Duke tomorrow, then it'll be on Front Street for the whole world to see. And then they're gonna go get whacked at Cameron Indoor Stadium in Coach K's last Duke Carolina game. And if they make the tournament, then we're gonna have to. Somebody's gonna be homeless, and it ain't gonna be me.
The ACC has turned Ace Robinson into all hands media.
Yeah, I mean I was not expecting that. Like,
Carolina stinks, bro. I hate people talking about Carolina getting in the tournament. They haven't beaten anybody.
I don't think they're good either. They haven't beaten anybody. I agree with you, but the metrics still like them, and that plays a role at the end of the day.
They ain't gonna like them once they get whacked by Duke twice. They ain't gonna like them no more.
Yeah, we'll find out about that. Big one tomorrow night. I'm going some facts again. I think I've taken the cop out every single answer, but I think the ACC is going to get less than 4 teams in. I think it might be 3. I don't know who the 3 are. I think it's 3 of those 4 you mentioned, Sean. Someone will fall out, and 2 of them will make a case and be in. But I think the West Coast Conference can get 3 teams in. So it might be a draw there. We'll see.
Yeah, I think they might both get 3. I think that's a potential spot. I don't think the WCC gets 4.
That's fair. All right, 2 left here. Let's go to the SEC. Taking a page from a quote from Oscar Tshiebwe. Kentucky at full strength is a better team than Auburn. All facts, some facts, no facts. Ace, you look angry at me for asking the question.
No facts. That's not facts. I love Auburn. Like, you guys heard me talking about it in the chat, like how much I love Wendell Green. Jabari Smith is the best player in the country. Like, these dudes are KD Johnson is
best player in the country. Maybe most talented player in the country.
Jabari Smith is the best player in the country. He's the best player in the country. Like, if I had to pick one dude to have on my team this year, I'm picking Jabari Smith. Hands down, all facts media. I'm picking Jabari Smith. And I'm going to tell you, first of all, we mentioned it obviously earlier. They have a rim protector in Walker Kessler. They have somebody in Jabari Smith who can get you a bucket whenever you need. they have a point guard named Wendell Green that thinks he's Trae Young, thinks he's Sharif Cooper. You know what I'm saying? He plays with a lot of swag. And then they have a guy like KD Johnson, who's a glue guy, that's gonna get in there and gonna defend. Like this Marcus Smart type of guy that's gonna just do whatever you need to do to win basketball games, man. And then you have a guy like Alan Flanning who's working his way back. Obviously, he was out in the beginning of the year. He's now just finally starting to get healthy, and he's still not at 100%. But I think if he can get back to anywhere near where he was last season, then they're gonna be a tough out. And then you got Bruce Pearl, who was. I wish he was going to be the Maryland coach, you know what I'm saying? But they backed up the Brinks truck to Auburn, and he's not leaving there anytime soon. So, but this team, similar to Providence, takes on the identity of their coach. And everywhere that Pearl has gone, his teams have played hard, they've defended well, and I think that they are the best team in the country at full strength. Obviously, they had that loss to UConn early in the year in Atlanta, but they ain't lost since. So I'm rolling with the Auburn Tigers. I like Kentucky, but I think that the things that Auburn does well at full strength are going to be are too much for Kentucky to overcome.
Sean,
I'm gonna say no facts because I think they're close. I think Kentucky maybe wins that game if Ty plays, but obviously got hurt early in it. The biggest thing for me is Severe Wheeler is a good player, but he's not that kind of point guard that's going to go win you a game late. He can go make a play for someone else, but he can't shoot. So if it comes down to it, I trust Wendell Green making a big time play late more than I trust Severe Wheeler to. Guard play wins you championships. Give me Auburn.
So guard play does win you championships, but there's a guy in the Kentucky backcourt that Ace is a big fan of, and that's Kellen Grady. So I'm going
Kellen Grady.
He loves Jacob Toppin too. So
I'm going all facts, you guys. I've fallen in love with this Kentucky team. I think if Ty Washington doesn't get hurt in that game, they do beat Auburn. I think this Kentucky team has had some really bad injury luck with that exact situation in 2 of their 4 losses. I don't think this Auburn team could go on the road to Kansas and beat Kansas by 18 points the way that Kentucky did.
Or is that more on Kansas though?
Yeah, I'm saying Kansas.
It is. No, don't get me wrong. It is. And it was a good matchup for Kentucky because Oscar Tshiebwe, the aforementioned Tshiebwe, was going to make David McCormack his lunch. And he did for 40 minutes. But I just really like this Kentucky team. I'm surprised no one is discussing them up in that top 4 with like Baylor and with where Kansas is discussed right now. We're going to have to see as this progresses. But if I had to pick one of which team at their peak is better when at full strength, give me Kentucky over Auburn, and we'll see where that ends. All right, last one for this game, and then we'll get to some questions from YouTube. Chet Holmgren will be the best pro from this draft class. Sean, go ahead.
I'm gonna say no facts. I think Chet Holmgren's really good. I think Jabari Smith is going to be really good. I think Paulo Banchero is going to be really good. But I'm going to say Jaden Ivey is going to end up being the best pro in this class. When you have a guy that can go get a bucket, he can defend. Guard play in the NBA is so important. And I think having a great guard who can be next to a really good point guard, he can go get you a bucket, drop 20 a game. I think having a guy like that, game-changing speed, is what you need in the current day NBA. Give me Jaden Ivey.
Wait, Greg, hold on. Why are you looking like that, bro? Jaden Ivey's like that. Let's not do that.
Jaden Ivey is not like that to the level of Chet Holmgren, Jabari Smith, and Paolo.
But they're different. I think they're all going to be good. I think they're all going to be good, but they're different.
You got to understand, bro. He's playing in the Big Ten. He's playing with Zach Edey and Travion Williams, who clog in the paint 40 minutes a game. There's nowhere to drive the ball.
Matt Painter's one of the best coaches in the country, and he doesn't even trust this man in the half court.
The Big Ten, they play that. They want to come down. They want to throw the ball on to Travion, throw the ball on to Zach Edey. When he gets in the NBA, you can't stand in the paint for 3 seconds. You have to guard, like, bro. He's gonna be a way better NBA player than he's in college. He's a damn good college player.
I don't disagree with that. He's still not even close to where Chet Holmgren is.
With all that being said, I think he'll be a better pro than Chet. With all that being said, I think Jabari Smith is going to be the best player in this draft class, in my opinion. He can score at all 3 levels, can catch and shoot, score out of the mid post. He has great size, can defend. I like Chet, but like. He's Porzingis with like a little more wiggle. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't
like that comparison at all.
What? All right. But he can handle the ball better. I'll give you that. He can handle the ball better. He's a better passer. But in the NBA, he's barbecue chicken, bro. Like, he's barbecue chicken.
Not a chance. No, he's too good of a defender for that. He's a good defender.
He's 180 pounds. They're going to put him through the rim, bro.
Chet's going to be fine in the pro.
What is he doing with Embiid? Embiid is putting him through the hoop. through the basket.
Embiid's put a lot of people through the hoop.
Karl Towns, Jokic, come on, bro.
In an NBA weight, he's gonna gain weight too in an NBA.
How much weight is he gonna gain?
I mean, he's gonna be on an NBA diet in an NBA weight room, probably a lot.
So that's Porzingis. What is he? 200 pounds?
I have no idea.
Come on, bro. Like these dudes, I'm not hearing it. I like Chet. I think he's gonna be a good basketball player, a good pro. But I'm taking Jabari over him. I'm taking Johnny Davis over him. I'm taking Paolo Banchero over him. I'm taking Jaden Ivey over him for sure. For sure, as a pro.
Not Johnny Davis, but the rest.
Johnny Davis is gonna kill the league too. I'm telling you, don't let these Big Ten
disrespectful.
Don't let these Big Ten offenses fool y'all.
I'm sorry I did this to our listeners. This is horrible. We got these two saying the guy
and Ace went on with like a 5-minute answer. Didn't you say 30 seconds?
Purdue lets Eric Hunter bring the ball up in big moments, not Jaden Ivey, and you're telling me this man's going to be better than the 7'2" kid who hits pull-up threes.
The spacing in the NBA is going to allow him to do crazy things with the basketball.
Spacing's going to work for all these prospects the same way. Chet will take advantage of spacing. So will Jabari. So will
I think they're all good. I think they're all good. That's my final take.
Look, that's on me. I'll take accountability to our listeners. That's on me for teeing this up to these two fools. I'm sorry you all had to hear that take. Dagan, can we get some questions from the chat? What do we got?
Sorry, I'm here. I had to unmute myself. We have we have a question from the chat about tomorrow. And Ace already kind of went over this, but I want to get the other two takes. What are your thoughts on tomorrow's Duke North Carolina game?
I'll let Sean start. You already heard my thoughts from this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing about it is North Carolina really struggles with physicality. Duke really physical with Paulo Banchero, Mark Williams, Theo John. I think it's going to be a long night for North Carolina. Their defense is a complete disaster. It's been that way all year. Give me Duke to win pretty easily.
Yeah, bro. You like I'm not buying the Tar Heels, bro. Like
we know what you think already.
Yeah, right? y'all heard my opinion on this already. It's gonna get ugly for them Tar Heel babies tomorrow.
So the line is Duke -3 at North Carolina.
Give me that for my house.
I'm a little bummed because I was looking to bet North Carolina in this spot. I thought this would open at like 5 or 5.5. And if so, I was going to jump on the Tar Heels. I got to see where this moves. I'm going to wait overnight before I responsibly put some of my hard-earned money over at Bet Rivers, our beloved partner here. But you guys, weird shit happens in college basketball.
That's true.
Like Duke is very clearly the better team. But if I think for 1 second that the greatest rivalry in sports isn't going to go out with a bang in Coach K's final year, and North Carolina has no chance going to Cameron.
No chance.
If they're going to get one, it's got to be this one. And like I said, weird shit happens. I don't know. If anything, this is a stay away from a betting perspective from me. But if I had to pick a side, I might pick Carolina to get it done tomorrow. And I don't feel good about it. I feel greasy about it, but I don't know.
You're putting your house on Caleb Love and Leaky Black?
I have a weird feeling, man. I really do. Man. And it's either way, I got to put my house on those two, or I got to put my house on Jeremy Roach.
That means on daily picks.
You're putting your house on Paolo. You're putting your house on Wendell Green. You're putting your house on Mark Williams, on AJ Griffin. Like that can go on and on.
On Greg's daily picks tomorrow, I guarantee he's gonna have North Carolina.
I really might, Sean. I don't know. I have a night to sleep on it. We'll see.
Shameful stuff, Nate. In the words of my guy Borzello.
Dagan, we got any more? Give us one more.
Yes, we do. What game are you guys looking forward to the most? Duke, North Carolina is not in the question anymore because we just got your thoughts. What game are you most looking forward to on tomorrow's pretty big slate?
I'm going first. Kentucky, Alabama. This is my Kentucky Wildcats, who I just said are better than the number 1 team in the country, versus an Alabama team who has the most quad 1A wins. I learned that on the bracketology show today. They have 6 elite wins this season. The next best team has 4. They get up for big games. It's going to be a madhouse. Nate Oates is going to wear his most colorful suit, and I will take the Kentucky Wildcats to win that game on the road. I'm pumped for it. Ace, who you got?
I'm going to be looking at Villanova and UConn. Both of these teams are coming off losses. Obviously, Villanova coming off a loss to Marquette, and then UConn coming off a loss to Creighton where they didn't play well. Both of these teams are currently tied in the loss column with 3 losses. So both of those teams are 2 games back at Providence as they kind of vie for a Big East championship. I think a loss essentially eliminates the loser of this game from the Big East championship race. And I think the winner kind of still has a fighting chance, if you're Nova at least, that is, because Nova still has to play Providence twice. So if Nova can sweep Providence, obviously, then that would give them the edge as far as winning the Big East regular season. So this is a huge game tomorrow in the Big East. So I think that's a game I'm gonna be looking forward to tomorrow the most.
For me, I'm going to say massive implications on the Field of 68 mid-major top 25 show, which I host every week. The 18-3 New Mexico State Aggies host the 17-5 Seattle University Redhawks. Seattle's been hot recently. They're 8-1 in league play. They caught their first loss in WAC play the other day against Grand Canyon. The guard trio of Cam Tyson, Darian Trammell, and Riley Grigsby against Teddy Allen and Jabari Rice. That is must-watch television. That will be a very fun game to watch, and that's the game I'm most excited to watch tomorrow.
This is why Sean Paul's the best, man. Like, you can only
I had to do it.
That was so on brand for Sean Paul.
I had to do it. I wasn't going to say, like, Baylor, Kansas. I prefer Seattle, New Mexico State.
So question, Sean. If the games are at the same time, what game are you watching? Baylor, Kansas, or Seattle, New Mexico State?
I have more than one device. Both.
So if you can only look at this dude, if you can only watch one game, if you can only watch one game, which game do you put on the television?
Seattle, New Mexico State.
Wow. I respect it, baby. I respect it, man. I respect it. That's why you watch Sean Paul, and that's why you host the mid-major top 25 show every week.
This has been a very on-brand episode of After Dark. We got Sean Paul going on and on about his mid-major games he's very excited about. We got Ace from All Facts just spewing lies. I mean, that's very
true. That is true. Yeah.
And then we've got me drinking lemonade Trulies, which again is very on brand. Speaking of drinking lemonade Trulies, it's time for our 3 cheers of the night. I don't know if this is officially the After Dark afters, but we'll say that it is. We're going to go around the horn. Everybody give me 1 cheers to anybody, anything that you want to, college basketball related. Ace, why don't you start for us?
I'm going with my guy. I mentioned him early, Tyler Burton, man. The former almost Quinnipiac Bobcat had 36 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 steals tonight in a win over St. Bonaventure. And obviously that guy is having an outstanding season for Richmond, man. And you know, he's somebody that's going to have a hell of a career as a professional basketball player going forward. So it's been awesome to kind of see what he's been able to do at Richmond and watch him develop over the years. Huge win over St. Bonaventure tonight. So I'm going with Tyler Burton for my cheer of the night. And I haven't even pulled up my shot yet, so let me go ahead and get that ready. I didn't even show the viewers.
What do we got here? What are we going? What are we going?
Hey, I don't know if I can show this on camera. You know what I'm saying? I'll show you once I pour it. How about that?
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. While he pours, Sean, who you got for your cheers?
Yeah,
well, actually, no. Let's hold up. Let's respect
okay.
Ace. We have cheers to Ace. Cheers.
Cheers to Tyler Burton. I got me a nice little Sedona shot glass. Sedona, Arizona. Shout out to the deserts out there, man. Cheers.
Cheers. All right, Sean. Take us away from Tyler Burton. Who you got?
I'll be drinking a non-alcoholic beverage today, but my cheers is going to go to Iona because the Buffalo trip. I was told by Ace how impossible it is to win games on the Buffalo trip in the MAC. Iona had no problems doing so today, beating Canisius pretty handily. They go and play Niagara later in the week. 19-3 Iona Gales yet to lose in league play. I still think they're going to go undefeated in MAC play, and they're going to be a tough team to beat in the NCAA tournament. So my cheers go to the Gales.
Cheers to the Gales. Rick Pitino, lifetime contract is what I hear.
I got to pour another shot, huh? Sheesh. Oh, I forgot how this goes.
Hey, we'll give you a breather. How about that? We support responsible drinking.
Mama did not raise no. I can't say that on the air, but
All right, I have my cheers. And then we have to end with a special note to the man taking shots right now. Seton Hall won in blowout fashion tonight. They were up 22 points early in the first half. So I'm going to give my cheers to Kevin Willard. This is a Seton Hall team that I fell in love with early in the season. Even this week on one of our live audio shows that we did, I was saying that Seton Hall would be the team in the Big East that I think could make a Final Four run. That sounds crazy, but if they can get right, I love this backcourt. They got to get Bryce Aiken back. Who knows if that will even happen, but I love him. I love Jared Roden. I love Miles Kale. I like Kadari Richmond even. I think that's a really versatile group of 4 guards, and to see them blow out a Creighton team that I do really like was good to get them playing the way I think they can again. So to Kevin Willard.
I'm sure producer Dagan Hughes likes that quite a bit.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that connection, but
He just texted Hall in, baby. So shout out to my guy Dagan.
All right, and I would be remiss to not end this show with the opportunity for me to settle a bet with good friend Ace Robinson here. All the way back to the beginning of college basketball season, our group chat knows what happened. There was a bet.
What do we bet on, though? Like, what do we bet on?
Villanova or UCLA, who will win the game? We had Sleepers Media betting, and we had All Facts Media betting. And I believe, Ace, if I remember correctly, the bet was the losing team had to take 4 total tequila shots on video. Ace,
I'm just taking 3.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I'm just taking 3, yo.
That bet has not been paid, and the sleepers are ones to settle debts. Okay, so Ace, you've taken 3. I believe one more would probably get it done. Do you want to send us out in good fashion here? Blame your boy Gillespie, man.
Yo,
they were up in that game. They were up in that game. It was looking good for a while.
No, before we get off this show, I'll be remiss. Y'all gonna stop slandering Colin Gillespie, yo. I don't care what. Listen, bro. Look at that team with him on the basketball court versus what they look like with him not on the basketball court. When they last season,
the same.
The same? Yo, the disrespect is crazy.
They're a solid Big East team, sure.
That's dishonest. That is very dishonest.
What are they, 3rd in the Big East right now?
Yeah, I mean, listen, bro. Look.
Hey, Shaka got them in shambles.
I'm all in on Marquette. I am all in on Marquette.
Yeah, of course.
Shout out John Fanta, the best play-by-play announcer there is. He's great. And shout out Marquette. They're doing a great job. So 2 more shout outs for me.
Shout out Daryl Morcell, former Maryland Terrapin, Baltimore's finest. Shout out Justin Lewis, another
Marquette
Baltimore guy.
And then shout out my guy,
Tyler Kohler, too. Three guys that.
All right, yeah, that's good. That's good.
Anyways, Colin Gillespie is a great point guard. Stop slandering my man's name. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
Hey, just make sure you pour that to the brim there for the loss. For the loss.
All right, yo, you try to get. All right, I see how you getting tonight. Okay, Greg, listen. Cheers. This is to All Facts, to Sleepers Media, to you know what I'm saying, Colin Gillespie, to Villanova, all the guys, man.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Ace. To Making the Madness as well with Sean Paul, to producer Dagan Hughes, to everyone at the Field of 68, to Rob Doster, Jeff Goodman. My name is Greg Waddell. This has been the Field of 68 After Dark. We will see you tomorrow. Enjoy a great Saturday of college